Another key point that was mentioned in the Queen's speech was to do with the issue of the small boat crossings, which I think I was pleased to see in the Queen's speech. I think it is right that as a country we are being as generous as we are to refugees fleeing from Ukraine and like we did from Afghanistan. And there are a number of constituents who have actually taken in Ukrainian families, and it will be the same for colleagues across this House, and that is a tribute to them. But of course, this is a right thing to do. But of course, it will place significant pressure on many of our public services. It's just a reality. We've already got quite a long council housing waiting list in the borough, and the pressure on that over time will likely go up as a consequence of this. But it is still the right thing to do. The extra money we provide for school places is the right thing to do. But that challenge is made much more difficult when we have a parallel illegal flow of invariably young men arriving here illegally from another safe European country. And the reality is that those individuals who are coming here illegally and not claiming asylum in the other numerous safe countries they've come through, they are working directly against the interests of some of the most desperate families who are fleeing persecution. And I think the more we can state that, the better. And that is very much my view, and I think it's important that the government have gripped that. And actually I think it's a view of most of the country who make the distinction between those fleeing areas of persecution and coming here, and those who have refused to apply for asylum in France and other safe countries. And I think it's important that we've drawn that distinction. I won't be taking an intervention on that topic from the SNP. I'm so terrified of your logical arguments, I couldn't possibly counter them. So I think it's important we're doing that. And I think in terms of the movement away from the Human Rights Act, something else I think is very welcome. I think that a British Bill of Rights is a step in the right direction. And frankly, if there is an international treaty, if there's an international treaty that we are subscribed to that prevents us from being able to control our borders and therefore be a sovereign country, then of course we need to review our membership of it. I understand that the Labour Party will find that difficult to understand because of the fact that I think that the Labour Party, most of the members opposite, support open borders and do not believe in border control, but I think that is where most of my constituents are at. In terms of also want to quickly touch upon the Public Order Act, which is, I think, it's building on the police and courts and crime bills. So I think I was immensely frustrated with these Just Stop Oil protests, like most of us, at least on this side of the House, would have been. I think we had people trying to get to work, trying to go about their daily business, which was disrupted by the self-righteous individuals who have had no concern for what their reckless behaviour was having on others. And I really struggle to explain to my constituents why it is the case that when you have individuals carrying out criminal damage in petrol stations, chaining themselves to public buildings, etc., why our police force can't just get in there and immediately remove them. Why are we dancing around, pretending we just get on with it? So frankly, as strong as we can be in this area, the better. The Public Order Act is the right thing to do. Of course, it would be voted down by the opposition benches who do not support that, and I think most probably side with the reckless behaviour that we've seen from those individuals. I mean, I know for a fact on that day that I think Eastern region was one of the worst affected parts in the country with these recent protests. I myself had to go, I think it was only the 7th petrol station actually had petrol because of this behaviour. I had constituents contacting me, vulnerable constituents whose carers couldn't actually get to them because of the fact that their carers couldn't fill up their motor vehicle to get to them. So we should be completely intolerant of these reckless protesters, and I'm pleased that the Public Order Bill gets us closer to that. On a final